On a splendid day, a carriage rolls into view, carrying two sisters, Chloe and Alice Verdier. Chloe, holding a walking stick, scolds Alice for causing a scene at the last soiree. Alice teases about the boredom of the previous event and confesses to getting tipsy on cherry glasses. Chloe, concerned about their family's debts, urges Alice to find a potential suitor at the upcoming ball hosted by Duke This. Despite the financial pressure, Alice dreams of finding genuine love. Chloe, constrained by her legs, apologizes. But Alice reassures her and shifts the blame to their father's financial decisions. Alice then raises concerns about Duke This, revealing rumors about his illegitimate children and violent tendencies. Chloe dismisses the rumors, emphasizing the importance of their invitation due to their family's predicament. Alice, skeptical, questions associating with Duke This. Chloe, gripping her stick, resolves not to fear. The narrative shifts 3 years earlier to Viscount Verdier's castle, where Chloe, a crippled but compassionate daughter, tends to wounded soldiers. A mocking soldier highlights her beauty despite her disability. Later, the commander, Duke This, surprisingly young, visits. He reveals his father's beheading and the soldiers' dilemma. Despite their pain, Duke This vows to lead them to victory, introducing himself as Damien Ernst von This. Duke This rallies his soldiers, urging them to turn desperation into action. The soldiers, fueled with spirit, raise their hands in a sign of victory. Chloe, witnessing this, is amazed at Duke This' leadership, realizing he's a greater man than she thought. The soldiers burst into cheers, singing his praises. As Duke This turns, he catches sight of Chloe standing by the window. Startled, Chloe quickly hides, wondering if their eyes met. Peeking through the window, she watches him leave, impressed by his bravery. Reflecting on Duke This' courage, Chloe admits she couldn't fathom such bravery upon hearing about her father's passing. She prays for the soldier's safe return, unaware that Duke This, having heard her prayer, looks in her direction. Another day in the castle, Chloe, determined to gather medicinal herbs, sneaks out despite her father's instructions. Gilles, the messenger from before, startles her. In a clumsy moment, Chloe slips, but Gilles catches her, concerned about her safety. Chloe insists on going alone, recalling a past mishap with poisonous herbs. In a forest beside the castle, Chloe picks herbs and is surprised to find Duke This there. Wondering how he knows the spot, she attempts to leave quietly, but accidentally crunches a leaf. Duke This, disturbed, turns and demands to know who's there. Startled, Chloe drops her basket, and as Duke This approaches, in a tense encounter in the forest, Duke This accuses Chloe of spying or seduction. Chloe, frightened, denies both, baffled by his claims. Duke This, with a smirk, questions her intentions, pointing out the peculiarity of a noblewoman, especially one with her condition. Fueled by anger, Chloe defends her actions, stating she helps those who go to war for their families. Duke This questions her recklessness, emphasizing the dangers in the forest. In a surprising turn, he snatches her walking stick and tests the safety of her surroundings. A moment of danger emerges as a snake approaches, swiftly countered by Duke This using Chloe's stick. Despite the rescue, Chloe declines taking the damaged stick back. Duke This comments on her unexpected temper and examines her leg, inquiring about hereditary conditions. Chloe, offended, accuses him of rudeness. Duke This, dismissing her sensitivity, compares life to war and suggests emotions lead to defeat. Chloe, in her thoughts, deems him devilish and realizes her misjudgment. Requesting permission for 2 questions, Chloe surprises Duke This by asking for a replacement cane, specifically crafted from the birch tree on the This estate. Duke This, confused, inquires about her request. Chloe, referencing his claim of returning victorious from war, suggests he visit the This estate upon his return. Before she can finish, Duke This grabs her, questioning what if he offers her something more. The forest encounter takes an unexpected turn, leaving Chloe in suspense. In defense of her father, she pushes back against Duke This' assumptions about his intentions. Chloe boldly asserts that her father's conversations with him were fueled by love for his daughters and points out that she's not the only one facing societal prejudices. Duke This, unimpressed, suggests she saves her self-disparagement for her journals. Unfazed, Chloe insists on the truth content with her peaceful life in her birth land. The scene shifts back to the castle, with Chloe mysteriously getting back without remembering how, much like the cold morning wind enveloping her. 3 years later, in the present day, Alice expresses her awe at the grandeur of House This Castle. Lord Cormier, a young man, enters, inviting Alice for a dance. Excited, Alice introduces Chloe, who observes the unfolding events with satisfaction. As the crowd whispers about Duke This, he descends. Chloe takes a respectful bow, as Duke This thanks her father for past assistance and invites her for a dance. However, the awkwardness arises when he notices her cane. Ignoring her rejection, Duke This moves closer, suggesting she's turning him down due to other dance offers. Amidst the tension, Prince Johannes intervenes, critiquing Duke This' behavior. Apologizing to Chloe, Prince Johannes is impressed and asks for her name. Chloe, grateful for the intervention, takes a bow. She realizes her sister is missing, and as Duke This inquires about Alice's whereabouts, Chloe wonders if her sister is in trouble again. Prince Johannes apologizes for Duke This' behavior, impressed by Chloe's boldness. After the prince leaves, Chloe ponders her sister's absence. Duke This reminds her of their secret arrangement about her cane. But Chloe demands a new one. The Duke, snatching her cane, asks about her sister's whereabouts and insists on guiding her through the castle. As they walk, Duke This notices Chloe's hair ornaments and criticizes their arrangement. He teases her about a lady running away in excitement, possibly her sister. As they approach the source of panting sounds, Chloe braces herself for an unexpected and shocking sight of her sister in an uncouth manner. In the midst of the commotion, Chloe is bewildered by Alice's strange encounter with a mysterious man named Eddie. Alice urges the man to leave before facing dire consequences, but he boldly claims he'd gladly die for her. Chloe, with her mouth agape, recalls Eddie as the intriguing fellow her sister had mentioned before, leaving her to wonder if they've been secretly meeting. Duke This intervenes, holding Chloe to calm her down and asking if she's all right. Apologizing to the Duke, Alice panics while explaining Eddie's sudden appearance. Chloe, seeking a private conversation with Alice, requests to be excused. Duke This excuses himself, and Chloe orders Alice to return to the carriage immediately. Acknowledging Alice's talent for causing scandals, Duke This listens as Chloe pleads for discretion to protect her sister's image. Chloe falls at the Duke's feet, apologizing for not keeping a closer eye on her sister and begging for forgiveness. Duke This questions what she would do if he were to punish Alice instead, making Chloe contemplate her next move. As the firecrackers light up the sky, Duke This asks if Chloe's plea is influenced by her sister's impending marriage for the sake of family fortune. He suggests a marriage of convenience, but questions Chloe about her own life and desires. Chloe claims she doesn't care about her life as long as her loved ones are happy. Duke This probes if she's willing to do anything for that happiness. Stroking her hair, Duke This tells Chloe he needs time to consider what she can do in return. He advises her to go back to the Verdier estate for now. Chloe, remembering Prince Johannes' request to introduce Alice, hesitates, but Duke This warns her against attracting any man or else her family will face dire consequences. 3 months pass, and Chloe writes a letter to Duke This, thanking him for her family's happiness. She contemplates her actions and worries about being excessive. Meanwhile, Alice is missing, and Chloe learns that she hasn't been in the house, possibly meeting Eddie again. Chloe expresses confidence in Alice's maturity due to her engagement with Count Cormier. Gilles, Chloe's loyal servant, shares concerns about Chloe being lonely after Alice gets married. Chloe reassures him, but as they discuss the letter, Chloe's father bursts into the room with excitement. He announces Duke's visit for a hunt on their estate, leaving Chloe curious about the Duke's intentions. Duke arrives, and the Verdier family welcomes him. During dinner, Duke notices the reduced number of servants and questions Chloe about her appetite. Viscount Verdier attributes Chloe's apparent discomfort to the Duke's presence and mentions her love for the forest. Duke recalls Chloe's resilience during his past visit and suggests a hunting expedition. Gilles serves them, and Duke becomes angry when he notices Chloe smiling at him. He requests Chloe's presence on the hunt, causing her distress. Chloe reluctantly agrees, and the next day, as they ride for the hunt, Duke questions Gilles' care for Chloe. Chloe informs him about Gilles' kindness. Duke riding recklessly, causes Chloe to panic, but they eventually stop. Duke informs her about catching a deer, and questions her knowledge of the forest. Chloe, still unsettled, considers Duke a devil incarnate. As they continue, Chloe realizes the challenges ahead, but finds some reassurance in Duke's attempt to comfort her. Back in the castle, Chloe, seated at the dining table, drops a bombshell. She announces her intention to send for a physician the next morning. Her father, visibly concerned, inquires about the reason behind this decision. With a hint of worry, Chloe reveals that Duke sustained an injury during the hunt, having been attacked by a wild animal. Her father, startled, anxiously asks about the severity of the Duke's injuries. Duke nonchalantly dismissing the severity, assures them it's just a nip obtained while chasing on foot. In the midst of the conversation, Alice chimes in, suggesting that Chloe tends to the Duke's wound since it doesn't seem too serious. In shock, Chloe insists they should bring a physician, but Alice counters, revealing that the village has only one physician, who is likely occupied with other patients. Duke not wanting to burden the village, eagerly asks Chloe to take a look at his wound after their meal. Persistent in her concern, Chloe continues to insist on bringing a physician. Her father supports her plea, emphasizing that the Duke should allow him to summon the physician. However, Duke interjects, recalling the incident 3 years ago when Chloe assisted his soldiers, leaving a lasting impression on him. After dinner, Chloe, reluctantly bearing a tray of medications, ventures into Duke's room. Duke, engrossed in reading, acknowledges her presence. She approaches him, urging him to show her the wound. Playfully, Duke requests her to inspect it herself. Insisting he at least rolls up his sleeve, Chloe sets a boundary, highlighting the impropriety of an unmarried woman touching a man's body. Duke, unfazed, smirks and proceeds to unbutton his dress, revealing his well-built physique. Chloe, caught off guard, blushes, clarifying that she didn't request him to undress. Attending to his wounded arm, she warns him of the impending pain. Duke, with a smirk, encourages her to make him suffer, attributing her knowledge of medicine to her private tutor. In the midst of the medical attention, Duke steers the conversation towards Alice and her secrets. Startled, Chloe instructs him to remain still and quiet. However, Duke insists on answers. And Chloe, with a sense of hesitation, reveals Alice's engagement to Count Cormier. As Duke probes further, he questions Chloe's silence over the past 3 months. The two engage in a close, intense exchange, and Chloe attempts to push him away when he accuses her of lying. The atmosphere becomes charged as Duke confronts her about his perception of her feelings towards him. In an attempt to leave, Chloe slips, but Duke catches her, placing her on his bed and maintaining close proximity. A palpable tension lingers as he stares into her eyes, and Chloe, visibly nervous, reminds him of his wounded arm. He responds with a subtle suggestion, leaving Chloe anxious and questioning his true intentions. Chloe, in a mix of frustration and regret, informs Duke that she's only treating him as per her father's instructions. In response, Duke questions whether she genuinely believes that's what her father wanted. Undeterred, Chloe defends her father's intentions and dismisses the idea that every woman is desperate for Duke This. However, he laughs it off and challenges her to put her theory to the test. Duke This pulls her up, holding her hand, and playfully tells her she can leave since she has done what she came for. Limping back to her room, Chloe can't help but regret wasting her time trying to thank such an awful man. Annoyed, she even contemplates using a thicker needle when stitching him. Despite her conflicting emotions, Chloe reminds herself that it's thanks to Duke This that her sister is getting married. She opens her window, contemplating a more stable future once her sister is married. The next day dawns beautifully in the castle. Alice, with a hint of mischief, calls Chloe, suggesting that it should have been Duke This head injured instead. Their father, seated at the table with Duke This, drops a bombshell. He wishes to propose marriage to his daughter, Lady Alice Verdier, despite her existing engagement to Count Cormier. Chloe and Alice are baffled by the audacity of Duke This' proposal. Their father explains the situation, emphasizing that he must respect his daughter's wishes. Duke This gives him 3 days to consider the proposal, stating that he'll stay in a neighboring village during that time. Moments later in Alice's room, Thérèse laments the pressure of becoming a duchess. Chloe tries to console her, assuring her that she doesn't have to go through with it if she doesn't want to. Alice, relieved, shares her concerns about the potential fallout, especially regarding her engagement with Count Cormier. Chloe reassures Alice that everything will be fine. However, Alice drops a bombshell of her own. She confesses her love for Eddie and reveals that she's pregnant with his child. Chloe, caught off guard, tries to convey the risks of such a situation with Eddie, leaving the two sisters facing an unexpected dilemma. Chloe, alone in her room, contemplates Alice's revelation about being pregnant. Burdened by guilt, she reflects on the consequences of their family's selfish actions. If this is the price they must pay, Chloe resolves to prevent the marriage at any cost. Her first step is to persuade her father. The following morning, Chloe approaches her father, seeking to discuss Alice's marriage. However, her father interrupts, revealing that he, too, has spent the night pondering the situation. He explains that while the prospect of Alice marrying into the This family concerns him, it also brings relief. He emphasizes the This family's commitment to honor, and how a divorce would be a cruel fate in their kingdom. Chloe attempts to share something important, but Gilles bursts in with distressing news: Lady Alice has disappeared. Tension fills the room, as the father anxiously questions Gilles. A letter found in Alice's room reveals her decision to abandon the Verdier name, live as Alice, and pursue true love, all while carrying a child. Viscount Verdier collapses, emotionally overwhelmed, and later questions Chloe about her awareness of Alice's romantic involvement. Chloe admits her dim awareness and defends Alice's choice, acknowledging the worthiness of the man if Alice chose him. Assuring her father about dealing with Duke This, Chloe steps outside. Encountering Gilles, Chloe, despite the dire circumstances, thanks him for allowing Alice to make her choice. Despite the turmoil, Chloe recognizes that they must make the best of the situation. When Gilles expresses concern, she asserts her commitment to looking after the House Verdier. Chloe is determined to find a way for them to survive, even if it means making a perilous choice. The challenges ahead set the stage for Chloe's resilience and determination. 3 days later, Duke This, spotting Chloe, teases her about the unexpected visit, suggesting she's rushing to accept his marriage proposal in person. Confused, she admits she couldn't convey her message through writing. Duke This, in his usual smirking manner, asks if she's carrying an infectious disease, prompting her denial. Chloe is commanded to sit closer to him, and with a subtle threat of disobedience hanging in the air, she complies. As she settles in, Duke This casually mentions his non-improving wound, revealing a box of medication. Instead of using his hands, he requests Chloe's assistance with the application. Chloe, unimpressed, advises him to stay indoors for a faster recovery. Once the task is done, she instructs him to withdraw his hand, leading to the burning question: why was his proposal to her sister rejected? Duke This, undeterred, wonders if Alice suddenly passed away. Before unraveling the truth, Chloe seeks permission to pose a question: why does he want to marry her sister? In response, Duke This subtly mocks her self-absorption and delusion. He smirks, suggesting Chloe believes he'd marry an undistinguished, debt-laden viscount's daughter solely to torment her disabled sister. Chloe presses on, wondering if Duke This loves Alice. Unfazed, he questions her expectation of a romantic motive for marriage. Chloe speculates that he might prefer marrying someone with a conspicuous flaw. Perhaps a woman with both legs impaired would be an ideal match. Duke This, seemingly intrigued, moves closer, hinting at a woman who has lost the use of one leg, Chloe herself. Surprisingly, he leans in, prompting an unexpected kiss that sets Chloe's heart racing in the whirlwind of emotions and confusion. Snapping out of the unexpected kiss, Chloe grabs Duke This' hands and sharply turns her head, questioning his actions. In response, he coolly explains that he wanted to test the sharpness of her tongue, given her penchant for cutting remarks. Then, in a brazen move, he suggests it's the perfect moment to propose that she bears his heir. Reacting strongly, Chloe doesn't hold back and slaps him. She admonishes him for acting disrespectfully when he hasn't even accepted her initial offer. Duke This acknowledges the fitting response, but advises her to familiarize herself with negotiation principles. He suggests she leaves, and Chloe, maintaining her composure, complies. A few days later, Chloe finds herself daydreaming about Duke This, recalling their kiss. Gilles interrupts, expressing concern, and Chloe brushes it off, redirecting the conversation to the ongoing engagement congratulatory messages for Alice. The royal family continues to send gifts, and Gilles inquires about her conversation with the Duke. Their conversation is interrupted by a guard announcing a guest's arrival. Duke This. Chloe decides not to disturb her ailing father, and asks the Duke to wait in the drawing room while she prepares to meet him. However, to her surprise, Duke This is already in her bedchamber when she returns. He claims he couldn't resist missing her and boldly invades her private space. Lifting her chin, he suggests their relationship will soon eliminate the need for privacy. He directs Gilles to leave and presents a family heirloom, a piece of jewelry passed down through generations. Duke This explains that tradition dictates his mother should present it, but she disapproves of their match. Chloe calmly acknowledges this expectation. Duke This, putting down the teacup in his hand, questions her seemingly indifferent reaction. Chloe admits she's afraid to react, unsure of what might come out of her mouth next. Smiling, Duke This holds her chin and asks if her calm demeanor means she accepts his offer. With a simple yes, he hands her the necklace, considering it a proposal, and then formally asks her to be his wife. Expressing gratitude, Chloe tells Duke This that she appreciates him accepting his offer. In response, he questions how she plans to prove her gratitude and playfully suggests running his tongue across her lips again. She replies with a belief that what he truly desires is power, though she acknowledges she can't fathom his exact thoughts. He dismisses her statement and presses her to reveal what she hopes to gain from him. Confidently, Chloe discloses her desire to become a duchess. Duke This moves behind her, adorning her with the necklace he gave her, emphasizing its weight as a symbol of the duchess's responsibility. He inquires once more if she still wants to be his wife, and she expresses her unwavering wish for nothing more in the world. Caressing her lips, Duke This probes whether she has considered the principles of negotiation, and what she believes he wants. In a surprising turn, Chloe, feeling the intensity of the moment, pulls him close and passionately kisses him. Gasping for breath, she assures him it's not too much for her to handle, expressing her reluctance to lie with him. Despite her reservations, Duke This assures her that she'll need to get used to it as things between them will become more intense. They decide to share the news with Chloe's father, who is overjoyed and pledges his life to Duke this if it makes his daughter happy. As he holds Chloe's hands, she notices the gloves she initially wanted to give him, wondering how he still obtained them. Duke this then makes an unexpected request for the forest and the mountain leading to it, the very things Chloe cherishes the most. It turns out these places are where everything began between them. It was the day of Chloe's wedding ceremony, a beautiful affair filled with a mix of emotions. Post-ceremony, whispers circulated that Duke this hastily departed without spending a night with his bride, allegedly seen with Marchioness Isabella. Reading about it, Chloe's tailor suggested burning the newspaper, but she decided against it, realizing it wouldn't change a thing. Jill opened the door for her, spotting the newsletter, and sighing about men's inability to control themselves. He suggested she leave estate management to others for a while. But she insisted everything was fine. Reflecting on the past 3 months, Chloe recalled Duke this departure and the silence that followed. She wondered if Marchioness Isabella played a role, but concluded she hadn't expected much from the marriage. Jill looked at her with pity and shared the good news of a letter from Alice. Despite its brevity, Alice seemed well, her father was improving, and the people benefited from Chloe's marriage. Chloe expressed happiness, noting her preference for being apart from Duke this. The letter left her longing for a peaceful life. Intrigued about Chloe's marriage saga. The wedding ceremony was a rollercoaster of emotions, and the rumors swirling afterward make you wonder about Duke this mysterious actions. What's the deal with Marchioness Isabella? The plot thickens. Feeling the suspense? If you're itching for a part 2, drop a comment below. Your excitement fuels the storyline. And, of course, don't miss out, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, buckle up for the continuation. See you soon.